to NFL Weekly. I'm Bill Enright, pumped to be joined by my man Fred Segal. You know him from Freezing Cold Takes at Old Takes Exposed on Twitter. He's one of my favorite follows. Well, we got to get him over here to Fancred. This is where sports fans live. Fred, my man, how's it going?
Going great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for joining me. Just want to give a quick instructions to our audience. I mentioned this is where sports fans live, and we want to hear from you guys. So NFL Weekly, just as much about the audience. So hit that fan line on the bottom, on the top right-hand side of your screen. Only one thing, you're going to get pushed back to our producer, Cam, who's doing a kick-ass job. Cam's going to tell you, listen, you can't text your friends or go to Snapchat or leave the app. Just stay right there. Otherwise, you'll be lost forever, and we're not going to see you. Look, let's get started with my man, Fred. We had the NFL Combine last week, the NFL Draft still a couple of weeks away, and every year out of the Combine, we kind of get these storylines, right? And you do a good job, or you do a great job of kind of like marking them down and then exposing them later on, years later, months later, whatever. The first one is about Saquon Barkley. He's this year's generational talent. How much of a cliche is that?
It's a big cliche. It depends on when it's used, first of all. You could argue it from both perspectives. You could argue it from the perspective of a prospect being a generational talent, and that's usually when people get in trouble. And then there's people who have already accomplished a lot who are generational talents like LeBron James or someone in that regard. In that case, it's a lot more of arguing whether what they've accomplished makes them a generational talent. But you see it a lot with prospects. And once in a generation, this guy, it's a big cliche because there's a lot of prospects in a generation. And what's a generation?
Right. Who are some of the guys that have made that list and you just love calling people out for it?
Well, Trent Richardson in the running back category back in 2012 was certainly there. I think that he was one of the people who can't miss prospects who turned out to be really bad. I saw in basketball, there was Jahlil Okafor who hasn't been good.
Yep.
Who hasn't had very productive career yet. In football, Cam Newton, in terms of athleticism, he's once in a generation, and I think that people thought that he would be something that would turn out to be a once in a generation talent. He's shown signs of it.
Sure.
Like back in 2015, and he could still do it, but I don't know if he's really hit that mark yet. But he was certainly there.
When Cam Newton was coming out of college, he was kind of dealing with a little bit of what Lamar Jackson's dealing with now. It's the next great college quarterback that happens to be black that is not going to make it in the NFL. They said it about Jameis Winston, won a Heisman. They said it about Cam Newton, won a Heisman. And they're saying it about Lamar Jackson now, who won a Heisman and has been one of the best college quarterbacks the last 2 years. What's up with these reporters that are trying to go after or create this kind of nonsense about Lamar Jackson this year?
Well, Jameis Winston, I don't know if I would put in that category. I think Jameis Winston, people really thought he was going to be great, and he really had more of the quarterback, drop back passer. He played the part. I think that people are concerned about Jackson, about the fact that he runs first. Maybe he was a little inaccurate in college.
Yep.
But I think Cam Newton got that. But Cam Newton also had people who thought that he would be the greatest thing in the world, right. And I don't think people get that with Lamar Jackson as much. But I do think that it's there in terms of the running quarterback. And maybe there's a little bit of a bias there that if you have a quarterback who's this athletic, who supposedly runs first, that he should be a receiver instead. I think he has a good enough arm. Usually you see that with quarterbacks who noticeably don't have the arm talent to be an NFL quarterback. Like I would say Trevon Boykin last year. Okay. I think he threw the ball 80 yards but I guess he was short. He didn't really exude quarterback as much as Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is kind of a different one for me. I think that Lamar Jackson, it seems to be a little bit strange that he's getting that treatment because he's not short. He has the athletic ability, and he has a good enough arm.
Yeah,
I don't judge quarterbacks, so I can't tell. People see things on the tape that I don't see. I don't pay attention to it. I sometimes I think in college this guy's going to be a great NFL quarterback, and he's ranked last.
Right.
And I have no clue why, because I don't scout it.
Jason from the comments wants to know, why has there been no Lamar Jackson comparisons to like RG3, Robert Griffin III, or even a guy that went to the same school in Teddy Bridgewater?
Well, I think Teddy was more of a drop back passer. I mean, I think he was a run second guy. He didn't have the same athletic ability in terms of running that Lamar Jackson did. In terms of Robert Griffin, maybe the whole Robert Griffin fiasco, or not fiasco, just the career arc, has hurt Lamar.
Right.
But the problem with Robert Griffin, he was a little shorter, wasn't he? And he was always getting hurt. I don't know. It's a great. I always try to think like. Now, I got panned for this online. I was saying, if Lamar Jackson was the quarterback for Virginia Tech in 1999, 2000, he'd be the surefire number one pick now, like Michael Vick was. Right. Well, I got panned for even comparing Lamar Jackson to Michael Vick, which is fine. But I'm just saying, like, Michael Vick seemed to be the first of his kind. Yeah. Robert Griffin seemed to be similar in terms of a dynamic quarterback. What if Lamar Jackson played for Baylor at that time? Plus, the offense that Robert Griffin ran was something that would get him a ton of statistics. I don't know if that helped a lot or hurt, but I do have a lot of material for Lamar Jackson. Either way, he's going to be the worst thing that could happen. He's just a regular quarterback, status quo, pretty good, because then it just doesn't. It's not fun.
Right. Another big topic that kind of came out the past few days after the combine was about LSU running back Derrius Guice, who was asked during his interview if he likes men and how he feels about his mother selling her body. Now, I know it's not a freezing cold take yet because it just happened, but I want you're a lawyer by trade, so I wanted you to put your legal hat on here for a second. What the fuck is wrong with these coaches or GMs asking these ridiculous questions? If you think of the NFL Combine as a job interview, it should be illegal for them to ask about sexual orientation.
Well, David, I'm trying to figure out the reason why they were asking. It seems as if they were probably asking because of the fact that they want to see what his reactions like. They want to see what kind of person. I'm sure they have all these different tricks to figure out people.
Yeah.
But in that regard, you're pushing a fine line there because it's in many states. I'd say probably more than half. I'm not sure. It's illegal to discriminate. In the labor laws, it's illegal to discriminate on sexual orientation. The NFL, I don't know how. It's too technical for me to determine how that would work, right, given it's just the combine, what team it is. I don't know. But you don't want to go there because it appears someone could, even if you weren't asking to determine whether he likes men, whether you don't want that kind of person on your team, which would be really the discriminatory part, then people are still going to think it anyway. Right. So it's just something you don't want to do. I suspect that it's becoming a bigger and bigger deal, and that it's not going to be done in the future. I think teams are going to be a little bit more careful about that. And the question about his mom, I don't know if that's illegal, but I don't know. It's not a good look.
Fred, we went down this road before. 2015, Eli Apple was in an interview with the Atlanta Falcons. They asked him the same question, do you like men? And Roger Goodell got involved, and the NFL got involved. DeMaurice Smith, the NFLPA representative, got involved. apparently the coach that asked Apple, who later got drafted by the Giants, top 10 pick, spoke to Roger Goodell on the phone for 20 minutes, explaining why it's not a good look, explaining why he can't ask a question like that. It's not like this is the first time it's come up at the combine with some of these scouts or GMs or coaches or whoever's asking these questions. But it just shows that the NFL still has this homophobic overtone attached to it in the locker room, outside the locker room, wherever.
I wouldn't disagree with that, but I also would say that it probably isn't. I don't know necessarily whether it was something that is something that they wanted to determine whether he liked men to pick him or not. But yeah, obviously they want to see what kind of reaction he gave, and given that they were possibly thinking it could be a negative reaction, then there is still an overtone of negativity there.
Yeah, it's just a terrible way. If they're trying to get a reaction from somebody, it's just a terrible way to go about doing it.
I'm sure it happens all the time. I'm sure Derrius Guice is one of the people who actually said something about it.
Right. And I wish he would out the team, because I think they should be punished. DeMaurice Smith, the guy from the NFLPA, said the team should be banned from the combine next year for asking that kind of question.
You know who the team is, and he's not going to out the team because it's going to get him, make him look bad in terms of the certain teams. I would the team, it would reflect more poorly on him to the teams if he outed the team than it would than anything else, than even him reacting poorly to that question.
We are talking with Fred Segal from Old Takes Exposed on Twitter, Freezing Cold Takes. Remember, you can hit that fan line button, top right-hand side of your screen. The only rule is you can't leave the app once you're in that backstage. Please ask us a question. We're going to have some fun now. This just came out a couple hours ago, and I saw that you retweeted it. Lindsey Vonn, Olympic gold medalist, U.S. Olympic downhill skier. Apparently, she was on some kind of like E-entertainment show. I don't know what it was. But she was asked about all these guys who she would or wouldn't date. And one of them was Gronk. She said, I would never, ever date Gronk. This is a female, a professional athlete, great one at that dated Tiger Woods, who was a known sexaholic, a known womanizer, cheated on his wife, but Lindsey Vonn wouldn't date Gronk. What's up with that?
Well, first of all, maybe people like Tiger Woods turned her off. Guys like Gronk.
Too like Gronk?
I don't know about that. These type of things, they probably got it sprung on her at a time. I'm wondering what she was thinking about when she's answering the questions. What would happen if I say I would? What would happen if I say I wouldn't? So if she says she would, then it's going to be all over. She would date Gronk. She would date him. And then it will be turned into something like Lindsey Vonn has it for Gronk.
Right.
But usually when women are asked whether they would date somebody in public, many of the times their answer is going to be no, just for that reason.
Sure.
So maybe that's the reason why she was thinking. But these things don't usually come back to haunt them. No. But I usually engage just with the check because it's good. It's fun engagement with people. But yeah, I'm wondering if she would actually, if she was actually telling the truth there, or whether she was thinking about what would happen, if she said this or that.
Right. Well, March 8th, mark it down. She would never date Gronk.
If she dates him, obviously she's going to have to address that.
That's right. Rob in the comments wants you to give him expose one of these takes here. Gronkowski, washed up, or Gronk is a born WWE star? Pick your poison.
Yeah, I don't think he's washed up. I mean, we saw him in the Super Bowl. How washed up could he be? He was great in the Super Bowl. So, I mean, he's got to have at least one more year left in him. Some people think that he's not going to be good at WWE. I think he seems to be like perfect for the WWE. I don't know whether it's going to materialize into something that he's going to do. A lot of times what I see with takes is that people get real excited about some idea the second it pops into the stream, and then it becomes like a reality to them. But then it kind of just dissipates. Like the excitement at the beginning and that's how I kind of feel about this Gronk WWE thing. I feel like he's not even going to be a mainstay WWE. He'll go in once or twice.
Right.
And that's it.
We've already saw him at, I think it was SummerSlam or something. He did okay.
Yeah.
Moving on, one of the NFL's most famous referees, Ed Hochuli, decided to retire. And of course, we got all of the lame jokes about hiding your guns and the NFL cracking down on gun policy. I mean, could people just try to get more original?
I like to call out. That's one of my bits on freezing cold takes. Is to call out the jokes that people use over and over and over. And I knew it was going to happen with Hochuli. I almost did it today with. There was one the other day with Cromartie, Antonio Cromartie, retiring so he could go to his family because he has about 12 kids or whatever it is. Or
He's had five after his Fred.
Yeah,
he's had 5 kids after his vasectomy.
Yeah, maybe you could try to get another vasectomy. That was one of the ones that I tried. I think I did one today. I forgot what it was related to. Derrick Rose, maybe.
Okay.
No, Derrick Rose today got hurt, or he signed, and it was the Timber Bulls.
Yeah.
Everyone said the same thing because the Timber Wolves have all the Bulls guys, former Bulls guys under Tom Thibodeau.
Yep.
But yeah, the Ed Hochuli one was front and center with the guns. Guns out.
Guns out. Yeah. Quick take from John in the comments. Ed Hochuli, quick take. Performance enhancing or real legit guns?
Real.
Yeah, I think so
too. Any reason why he would do it?
Yeah, I mean,
probably he's got probably works out arms significantly more than chest or legs.
On that flag.
Yeah.
Last one I got for you. Kyle Fuller, Chicago Bears defensive back. A couple weeks ago, Jason La Canfora says he's not going to re-sign with the team. This week, Ian Rappaport, NFL Network, says he is going to sign with the team, and then he does end up signing that franchise tag. What's with these guys being wrong? Like, who's wrong the most? Is there a Hall of Fame for freezing cold takes? I mean, look, La Canfora has to be in there, right?
He gets a lot of criticism. I don't follow the stories breaking, the guys, how much. Here's my problem. I don't really follow how many they get right. So so I don't really know what his percentage is, but people do like to say with Jason La Canfora, the second that he posts the news that the opposite of that news is going to happen.
Yeah.
He does like to get on the case of fan bases, especially in baseball. He's an Orioles fan. He gets on these Royals people all the time, and the Red Sox fans. So they hate him. And people, it appears that he likes to kind of razz people. So people really dislike him. I don't really know. I mean, Ian Rappaport to me seems like he gets everything right. Although people do reply on the comments that he gets everything wrong.
Right.
But it depends. But in terms of takes wise, I mean, you got like Skip Bayless and Colin Cowherd and those guys. But those guys talk so much and give so many takes that it's kind of hard to put them in the category of every single take is wrong. Now, Skip Bayless, I don't even use him that much because it's too easy.
Right.
But guys like Colin Cowherd, they speak so much and they tweet a lot. And Colin Cowherd has 4 hours of talking.
It's a lot.
And Fox Sports loves to post all of his takes.
Right.
So they're all memorialized on Twitter for people to start 10 a day. So he's going to get zinged every time. A lot of people have radio shows, local, national, where they don't do that. So the only way to know their takes is if you actually listen to the show, and I can't listen to all the shows. So
I have another question here from the comments. It says, Fred, have you noticed all the fan base Trump accounts? Do you ever consider one of those parody accounts as a cold take contender or half comedic takes or half comedic takes off limits?
I don't do anything on my Twitter feed politically related. I used to, but it became so divisive. First of all, it's hard to do when you're a predominantly sports account because I'm going to be getting all these politics ones, and I don't know which ones to use. And I just wanted to do like 1 or 2 a day. It worked for the election, but I still lost a ton of followers by posting things related to the election because nobody thought Donald Trump was going to win. And then I posted all these takes of people saying that he wasn't going to win. And then people were so pissed about it, they unfollowed me. I just don't enjoy it at all.
Right.
And plus, I don't know anything about it. So some sort of policy take will come in, and I'll get all these arguments from people that, oh, that's not a cold take. I mean, he did this and this, it's worked. And it's really subjective. So, and I can't argue with them because I don't really know it. So I don't want to do it. And I was sick of getting all the political mentions of people sending them to me. And I think that people, eventually everybody will resent me because I do all these different takes. And if you do something against a political pundit or a person that you like, politician that someone likes, they get real hypersensitive.
Right.
So I stopped doing it. The Trump stuff, I feel like it's so prevalent on Twitter.
It's everywhere.
It's funny that he has a tweet that's contradicting all the things he does. As when he was president, before he was president, he would say all these things and it's contradicting. It just shows how different it is when you actually are the president.
Right.
He's actually the only president that has tweets from before he was president. So we don't really know how the other presidents would look in that situation, but it's posted like by 1,000 people the second something happens. You don't even need me. It's all over the internet. Why do you need me to do that? It's so I don't use it. I don't get involved. I will do politicians' takes if it's about sports. Like I think Trump said that Johnny Manziel was a great pick back in that. So I'll post that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fair game. Any politician, you post something about sports that's really solely related to sports and it's a cold take, I'll post it.
Well, I said there was the last one, but we have a couple more from the fans. They're loving you in the comments. We got Jeff wants to know, who do you think will be the next Jets quarterback, and will that quarterback have his supporters exposed once it's announced?
Oh, well, the past Jets quarterbacks, Geno Smith, Mark Sanchez, even Christian Hackenberg, were all exposed. Any Jets quarterback's going to get Ryan Fitzpatrick too. Really, I have no idea who's going to be their quarterback, but they're going to pick one. I assume it's probably going to be. Well, I would suspect that the USC quarterback Darnold's going to be picked first.
Okay.
They could get Cousins. If he's picked, whoever Cousins goes to, it's going to. I have a ton of Cousins takes. Or it's just going to be another one of the quarterbacks that's in the draft. Maybe that guy from Montana. No, Wyoming. Allen.
Gosh, Allen.
Big topic. I mean, some people say he's a great quarterback. I know Pete Prisco from CBS, who I love to get, and we have fun. I like him. We have fun banter, but he loves Allen. He loves him. But whoever it is, it's going to be anything related to the Jets is big.
Yeah,
it'll produce a lot of takes. So I'll be set.
Fred Segal from at Old Takes Exposed on Twitter, freezing cold takes. We have Robbie in Vermont. Freddie wants to ask you a question. Not sure what the topic is, but I know Robbie is a big skier. I'm surprised he's not on the mountain because snow. I know you're in Florida, but we got like 2 feet of snow here. Fred, so you're definitely enjoying. You're in the right climate, my man. Robbie's up in Vermont. He's even colder than I am. What's up, Robbie?
My car's blocked in right now. I ain't going nowhere.
You're going no. You're here with us.
Yeah. So is there a Twitter account out there that even I'll see sometimes they name it to a really similar accounts as the real ones, and then sometimes they'll fool people and say, yeah, we'll source this, and like, yeah, this is the real thing, and it fools everyone. Are these out there?
Oh, the fake accounts that like the breaks. Oh, I love those. Yeah,
because I see people all the time that is just
one of my favorite things to do on the feed is to collect the takes, the people who fell for the fake account. There's a fake Adam Schefter.
Yeah.
A darn Schefter.
Guilty.
So like the R and N looks like an M. So there's a lot of fake Ian Rappaports, and there's a lot for basketball. So many fake Adrian Wojnarowskis. There was that when he was Woj Yahoo NBA.
Yeah.
It was Woj Yahoo with 3 O's NBA, and they put the same background and the same avatar, and they post a break. And if somebody retweets it, who has a lot of followers,
love that.
It goes nuts, and I always collect them and post the people who fell for it. It's one of my favorite things to do on the feed.
I was guilty of that with Marquise Colston. I fell for the fake Adam Schefter account. And then I said to myself afterwards, he like sent out a tweet saying Marquise Colston tore his ACL. I forget where I was, but it was like big news at the time. I run a fantasy football website. Colston was like a top 12 wide receiver. I ran home. I started updating all the rankings and the depth charts and everything. And then finally, like, I'm looking for other sources. I'm not seeing it. I'm like, I asked myself, why am I following the fake? Like, why am I doing this to myself?
That's got to be some of the coldest takes out there.
Oh, I was such an idiot.
Well, I don't put them in the actual take genre. I put them in the fake tweet genre. People fall for it. The big accounts, the big will retweet it or quote it and go, "Wow." There was one, I think, a fake Schefter posted that the Patriots signed Colin Kaepernick, and that thing blew up.
That went nuts.
It was. I mean, that thing blew up, and then there was a ton of people who retweeted it, and people kind of, the followers kind of know about it now, so they'll send me the screenshots of someone following it, because you got to get the screenshot real quick, or it will they'll delete it right away.
Robbie, we appreciate your call. Listen, you're a young kid, man. Go out there and shovel out your car. I know it's cold, but you're young still. No back pain yet. Fred, I want to thank you for joining us today. Awesome job, man. I love the Twitter account. I got to get you over to Fancred. I think the fans would love you here even more, and happy to have you back anytime.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
Thanks for watching NFL Weekly. Stay tuned next week.